What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tone Nerds. We've got a very special episode for you. We've got some new gear that hasn't even come out yet.
That's right. That is right. So we got a package from our friends at Walrus Audio. And there's something special inside the package. So why don't we open it up and check it out?
Let's see what we got.
Let's do it. This is the brand new Walrus Canvas Rehearsal pedal.
Let's go. Let's check it out.
So we just pulled it out of the bag here. What is first impressions?
First impressions, you know me, I love matte black pedals. Yeah. It's very Batman-esque, but it's got the colors and stuff from the canvas line. Yeah. It's got the logo. Mm-hmm. For what it is, right, this is a rehearsal pedal. So I don't know, you know a little bit more about it, but essentially what this does is it's at the end of your chain. This is for the musician who's maybe gigging, you're in a hotel room, and you want to practice, but you can't run an amp, or you don't want to carry an amp with you. So you run this at the end of your board. You can plug in headphones or an auxiliary cable and use this to practice along.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's intended to be used at, like, you plug your pedal board into it, and it's for people who run pedals. So if you're running pedals, this is something that you can use at the end of your chain. You just basically, instead of running out to the house or a DI or whatever, you just plug it directly into the inputs of the rehearsal, and it is stereo input, stereo output, which is pretty sick. Yeah, so the stereo piece is nice.
It has a click.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the features. Yeah. So you do have a couple of things on here. There's two inputs. There's an aux input, and then there's the quarter-inch inputs for the instruments, and you can actually blend both of those. Now, the cool thing about this pedal too is you do have the aux in, so I could plug my phone, use an 1/8" adapter, plug it into the pedal, any other kind of 1/8" input. But what I feel is one of the coolest features of the rehearsal is it has Bluetooth.
That is really cool.
Yeah, you can actually Bluetooth into this thing, control everything from your phone. You need to pause, you need to go back, you can do all that. It's not cumbersome because you don't have a cable, like, I forgot my cable, I can't run it.
There's already so many cables involved in pedal world. It's nice to just connect like you would a Bluetooth speaker, but it's going to, you can run headphones and stuff. It's a rehearsal buddy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then I like that you can control the aux input, whether it's Bluetooth or auxiliary in. Yep. It has its own volume knob.
Yeah, so
really
actually, you can blend all three. You can blend the aux or the Bluetooth. You have a volume knob specifically for that. You have a volume knob specifically for a click, so it does have a click in it.
Yep, that's cool.
And a couple of cool things about the click is, number one, you can change the accent notes.
Heck yeah.
You can change the time signature. You can run MIDI on it and actually control it via MIDI.
That's
so if you have
crazy.
MIDI pedals, you can just tie it in with everything else.
That's wild.
Control the tap tempo or whatever you want to do via MIDI as well. So you can mix your click signal in with the aux. You can also blend your guitar signal as well. So
that's
basically,
nice.
You just find like a good mix of all three of those. Maybe you have a little bit of a hotter guitar, hotter input. You can just tame that a little bit. So really cool to be able to blend all three of those volumes together. Yeah. And now this is intended. There's a couple of ways you can go out. So there is the HP. That's the headphone out, and you do have a volume knob for that. So you can control your master volume out to your headphones. There's also quarter-inch outs, and it's stereo. So if you want to run to like studio monitors, if you want to do, if you want to rehearse and like not have it be in like instead of can headphones or something like that, you can do that as well. So you can run it to studio monitors, you can run it to a flat response cab, you can run it to anything you want. Honestly, if it takes a quarter-inch input. So pretty sick.
Yeah, I like that. I was gonna say I like that. There's a tap tempo for the click.
Correct.
That's kind of cool, right? So you got your own little spot to tap in. the meter and all that. That's really neat.
That's right. Yeah. So there's actually you can tap it in here. There's with the knob you can actually dial in the exact BPM if you want to do that. So there's a couple different ways, and then of course through MIDI you can control it. So there's a few different ways you can do that. And then there's the start and the stop button here, or you can use this as a tap tempo as well.
This feels like for a pedal that goes at the end of your board, that's used mainly to rehearse with. It's got a lot of features. I'll be honest, like when you were describing it to me, I'm like, oh, it's a headphone jack, that goes at the end of your board. But there's a lot to this. It's got the Bluetooth, the click, the kind of separate volume knobs to blend it all in. The fact that you can run stereo into a practice pedal, so you can run it to like headphones or to monitors. I hadn't even thought about the rehearsal option of like, what if I'm rehearsing with my friends and I'm running a click?
Yeah, it's pretty sick. So it's got some really great features on it. One call out, it's 9-volt, which is nice. It is 300 milliamp draw though, so definitely recommended to use an isolated power supply, and also make sure it has enough juice to actually power it, because it's 300. It's a little bit more than
okay.
Yes. Like a drive pedal, and not quite as much as like a Strymon, which is usually a 500, but it is. There is a little bit of draw there. Yeah, okay. So just make sure you power it sufficiently. That's the high-level rundown of like what this pedal's all about. What do you say we plug it in?
Let's do it.
See what it sounds like. All right, let's we've talked enough about this rehearsal. Let's plug it in. Let's plug it in and see what it can do. All right, so here's what we're doing today. You can run this through headphones, and that's probably predominantly what most people are going to do. The headphone out is in stereo. But for our purposes today, we are going to actually use the stereo out quarter-inch outputs, and we're going to run this into our studio monitors, so that way you, the audience, can hear what we're hearing and see what this thing can do. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to be running through our board here. The Strymon Big Sky is the last thing in the signal chain. So what we're going to do is we're going to run quarter-inch from there into the canvas inputs, canvas outputs into the studio monitors. So let's do that now. All right, so we are running the Strymon into the canvas, into the studio monitors. Let's see if we got signal. Did we do this right? Okay. Ooh, let's see what we got. You want a little bit cleaner on there?
Let's get a little bit clean. Sounds pretty good.
Sounds nice to me, man. This Kansas rehearsal sounds awesome.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think we joke about that, but some pedals boast is like it's a rehearsal partner, but then it affects your tone. Yeah. And so I think for me, the big thing that I wanted to, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm like, I want to hear it. And I want to make sure that this isn't going to alter my tone of what's coming in through my ears.
No, that's fair. I mean, I think a lot of people do. A lot of people do forget about that part of signal chain. I mean, obviously you got guitar and you got pedal board, which people spend a lot of time on that. But like what happens after your signal leaves that last pedal on your board? I think about it like it's like this is like my pure unfiltered glacier water here. It's pristine
glacier water.
And then you take that pristine clear water and you feed it into a sewer hose, into your mouth. That's just terrible.
I'm loving this analogy, by the way. This is fantastic.
It's facts, man.
It's facts.
This is what it's like.
Yeah. Don't run your board through a sewer hose.
No,
Trash.
No. So, but yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, like that's part of your signal chain too. So,
yeah, and
you're right. Like, so if we're running our board through a Kansas rehearsal or any other kind of headphone amp or anything like that, if it colors our tone, then that's going to impact the way you rehearse.
Yeah, and I think if we had to take what's the purpose of this pedal? And to put it in like a nutshell, it's meant to give me the experience that I'm practicing and playing like in a live setting, but in a more quiet space, you know. But then I think back to like when I bought the Strymon Iridium, and they're like, oh, it has headphones out, and in my mind I'm like, oh, this is going to be my quiet practice solve. And then it didn't sound through the headphone jack like it did through monitors or an amp, and I'm like, this actually it colors my sound. And then what happens, I just stop using it as a practice tool, and I just put it through my monitors, but really quiet.
Yep, I think that's a good call out on rehearsal tools. You want it to sound as much like what it's going to sound like at the venue as possible, because it, like I said, like
it affects how you play.
It affects how you play. It affects your confidence. If you think your tone doesn't sound good, then you're not going to play confident. And then number two, if you dial in your pedals to sound just the way you want them to through a rehearsal unit, then you get to the venue and you play, and whatever it's through an ears, through a floor wedge, and it sounds different. Now instead of spending time, nailing down your parts,
you're dialing in sounds,
turning knobs and pedals, and trying to get the sound just right.
Which is why I appreciate this little guitar volume thing. Like, I don't have to tweak the volume on my board. I can just, the overall master volume of the guitar signal going into the pedal, I can match whatever my practice sound is. So that's really cool. But let's go ahead and hop into things.
Well, before we do anything, why don't we let's link this thing up to your phone via Bluetooth.
I appreciate how easy it was to connect to Bluetooth. It literally just showed up immediately as we turned it on.
That's awesome. So we got the Canvas plugged in here. So let's just kind of work through the features from left to right and see what we're working with. So we got this top knob, or the top right knob here. If you press that knob, there's a couple different screens you go to. Number one is this tap division screen. With this, you can actually change what goes to your outputs here. So you can do just the metronome, which is what we already had it on that, I think. I think I just went back. You can do just the aux, or you can do the metronome plus the aux. Let's do both.
Let me see. Let me test it real quick. So
let's test it out. See what we got. So number one, do we have the metronome? We do. Sweet. Okay.
I guess I don't need the headphones anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, you look good in the headphones.
Thanks,
You look
Micah.
like you know what you're doing. You look like John Mayer playing with the Grateful Dead or something. So, okay, let's keep on going here. What a metronome sound. Okay, so you can make a different sound. Let's see what options we have. So we have the rim shot. Which we have.
Nice.
No, that sounds like a robot or something. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like the other one. It sounds more professional.
Let's hear it.
So I think it's
Where
just
is it? Let me hear it
rim.
again. What's the difference? Let me hear it.
So, okay, here's the rim. See, that's soothing. Yeah. And then we got, I do wish you could sample these sounds before you went in and out of the, maybe there's a way, I'm just stupid and can't figure it out. So this is, I don't know what that stands for, CLA, like a, what is that? I should know the name of the system.
I don't like it, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's piercing.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends on the type of music. If you need something to cut through.
If you need something to cut through, it will definitely cut through. Yeah, and then this is the third one.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of like a happy medium. Yeah.
I like that there's options though. I think in something like this, it is kind of a bummer. Like everybody has preferences as to how they run their click, you know?
Yeah.
And what the sounds they like.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, the context is a big thing too. Maybe you need something that cuts through, and the rim shot doesn't quite do it, so you need something a little more high pitched that's going to pierce through there. So very cool. Okay, and this last one is foot switch. Okay, so tap mode on.
Oh, that's cool.
What are the options? Or off. Okay, so you can either do the tap mode on or off. Very cool.
Because I think you can also tap with this guy.
Yes. Yeah, you can tap with the main button. I think you're assigning whether this will tap or not. Or does this just start and stop the metronome?
Yep.
Yeah. So, man, some really cool submenu options there. I'm digging that. Okay.
I got to say, this is pretty neat. I was worried about it just being like an expensive like headphone jack. Right. As we were saying before. But I get it now. I think I'm starting to get it.
There are just so many features packed into this thing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier, but the Bluetooth like connects super well. Now I will be interested to see, so it timed out now. Is the Bluetooth still connected? So that's the problem I've had with some pedals. Sounds great, working great.
Yep, and it was super easy. Like we didn't have to like hold something down for 30 seconds and then try and pair it. And it was like waiting for it.
Paired right away. Now, I do wonder if we were to, maybe I wanted to pair my phone or we wanted to pair another device, how well would it?
Maybe we're flying too close to the sun here.
Maybe so. But that may be something we probably should check out before.
Let's try it, see if it works.
All right. Well, let's check this thing out. Let's play some tunes.
Let's play some. Let's take
that was aggressive.
It was eyeballing me. Let's take it to church a little bit. I'm gonna just set a pad or something.
Okay.
It's the way I like to practice often. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that feels nice.
Okay, let's try to introduce a click here. We don't tap it in here. Maybe like something around 90, 85 beats a minute. Okay, and then we're in 6/8 time. Let's change that to 4/4.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. All right, and here we go. A little more click here.
Yeah. Lord knows I need it.
We all need it. I'm digging it, Ruben.
Yeah.
That is nice. That's real nice.
That is real nice. I'm like I said before, I'm starting to get it. You know, it's like I can see myself practicing with something like this for sure.
Like I said earlier, there's so many features packed into this thing. I mean, between the Bluetooth, the connectivity, the click, the ability to send or not send through the through the stereo out, the headphone input, and you also obviously have volume control there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of different options in terms of subdivisions and accents. It's very tweakable.
Yeah.
Very useful tool.
Yeah. Who is this for? Let's talk about that. Like, who is this for? Number one, anybody who's wanting a silent rehearsal option. I'm thinking church folks are like, oh man, I got to practice my set for church tomorrow, Saturday night. The
family's asleep in the other room.
Family's asleep in the other room.
Yeah.
And so much of what we do, like in church world, has to do with like the tone, dialing in those tones, and how often you're like, I can't practice with my board because like I have to either have a mini amp or it doesn't sound the same. Maybe I'm trying to dial in specific tones and you're trying to keep it really quiet and it doesn't sound the same. So that's number one. The other thing is the gigging musician. I'm in a hotel room. I think even in that little teaser video, like they show a guy, he's in his hotel room, he gets a text message and it's like, the set list changed. And he's like, dang it. You know? And then he pulls this out of his backpack. He's like, oh, I'm ready. And you see him practicing.
His composition notebook and goes to town.
Yeah. I think one that probably haven't talked about is like my immediate thought was college students. Like my poor neighbors. When I was living in the dorms, I darn near blew the walls off of that entire dorm hall. Practicing because I'm like, I just getting excited about dialing tones and stuff.
That situation I'm in. My family is in the other room when I'm rehearsing. And I can't tell you, like, I'm looking out the doors of my office right now. I cannot tell you how many times, like, if Dad's too loud, I'm getting the look through the glass doors that, you need to turn that crap down.
Yeah.
So, at home with the family, perfect solution for that.
On the road,
in a hotel room,
in a dorm room,
or if you live in an apartment somewhere where you got to keep the noise level down.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many people, and one of the things I didn't even really think of until we were talking through it is take this thing to a band rehearsal, run this through your amp, run this through your the PA, whatever.
This is your click.
That's your click. That's so cool. Yeah. So so many different target audiences for this.
So one thing we haven't talked about, what about the person who's not running an amp modeler? Because I don't see it sounding great. Well, like, can we turn these guys off?
Yeah, we sure can. Let's do it right now.
And just see what it sounds like without, and then turn the verb and stuff off.
Yep. So this is what we got. Just no amp.
Doesn't sound terrible.
It doesn't sound terrible. I mean, but now if I'm trying to dial in a drive tone.
Actually, it actually doesn't sound bad. I stand corrected. Never mind.
Let me just take that back. It actually sounds
pretty good.
I mean, does it sound as good as a UA Ruby or Enigmatic? I mean, absolutely not. But in a pinch, if you're rehearsing,
So I take it back. You don't need an amp modeler.
Yep.
It sounds pretty solid.
I would just probably say if you're not running an amp modeler, I would not start turning knobs on your drive pedals.
Yeah. If you're not running an amp modeler, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you even doing with your life, Malcolm Boer? Ruben, what are you thinking, man? Would you buy a Canvas Rehearsal?
What's the price point on this?
The price point is $249.
Okay.
Yeah, so $250 you'll get out the door with this thing.
I mean, for what it can do, I get it. I see the appeal. I see the value. If I'm living in an apartment, yes. If I'm a student living in a dorm room, yes. For me, I have enough kind of space and I have a quiet solution at home right now. So I'm probably not in need of one.
Neither one of us are on tour yet.
And we're not on tour. I can just practice quietly at home through like my audio interface and my kind of studio setup. But if I'm living in an apartment, absolutely. I see this being worth the money.
I gotta say, I'm really impressed. That's really cool tool that Walrus has developed. So hey, hats off to the Walrus guys. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, that does it for another episode of Tone Nerds. Appreciate you guys listening in and checking out the Walrus Walrus Audio Canvas Rehearsal. This pedal is going to be all the pre-orders are shipping out on February the 3rd.
Okay.
So the first batch of folks will be getting their units then. And then it should be hitting the open market shortly after that. But very cool pedal.
Heck yeah. So we hope this was helpful. Feel free to like and subscribe. We got more guitar gear stuff coming your way.